Good evening. I'd like to call our Human Relations Commission meeting to order. Chair requests staff confirmation that Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided.
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Let's do a roll call.
Chair Kuchel.
Here.
Vice Chair Newell. Commissioner Bonilla.
Here.
Commissioner Kressler. Commissioner Rosano.
Here.
Commissioner Green.
Here.
Commissioner Tague-Hurd.
Here.
Commissioner Zaveski.
Present.
Youth on Board Miller. Youth on Board Smith.
Okay. Our next agenda item is approval of our minutes from our May 13th, 2025 regular meeting. Those are attached and were also sent out to you. So if you need a couple minutes to look those over, or someone could make a motion for approval.
I would so move.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you. Looks like under new business, there's none. Public hearing items, none. And then we'll move on to our administrative docket items with our docket review.
Yes. Since we have everyone, we don't have anyone appearing online and no one's here today, I'll go pretty quick through it unless someone has questions. But starting with the employment cases, there's not been much change except for the one new case that came in since the last time we were here. The complainant has met with us. We've kind of proposed some stuff they want. The complainant has requested that we put it on hold a little bit until she has some things she's working through. So we are not sure if that one will proceed or not based on the complainant's directions, but that one may come to you by next time. We shall see. That was the only new one on the case. That was the one that came in on 5/5. The others have been a while, and we haven't heard anything following up on the no-shows.
Okay.
And then moving on to employment cases, we've had a lot more activity. Kind of when it rains, it pours. It all came in kind of really hurriedly here. So it was kind of a slow year overall. This will be our last report. We'll change to the new docket year because we switch the end of July, I think. Well, maybe one more. Was it one more, Marissa, we do?
It would be this next month.
It resets next month because we're not on a calendar year. We follow the HUD's year of what they consider on cases. Just do it for all of them. So we'll reset, and these will look different. But just going through the one case has been waived to HUD. I know that one is still ongoing. I visited with them today. I don't know the process of it. That's the one that's closed up above, and then the one that's still open that's been with the Department of Justice for a while, we just got notice from HUD. That one, the next time that will be off and it won't return. I don't think they ever ended up doing anything with it. We've had some discussions with them, but it's probably going to go closed because it's past our statute of limitations if they passed it back to us. But anyway, so that, unfortunately, I don't know that DOJ is really going to take it up, but we in discussions with CLED to close out the end of the year, that's going to go off for next year, so it will be closed, but unfortunately it didn't quite go the way we had hoped. Then the other two are in process. I think those will be coming up pretty soon. The one in process, the H225, was the call that came in on 528 below on inquiries, and the H3 was the one that came in on 62 disability filed. It was one of those on 62. So some of those inquiries kind of overlap with the two new open cases. We have one more down there on that came in on 6/7 that we expect will be filed. So we'll have some activity picking up in the next few times. We'll see where they go from here. The couple that were screened, we didn't end up filing, but for reasons. But so we've had a lot more activity in that one. I think it'll look a lot different next time we come in because we'll do a reset. Just the pending cases that are in progress will be on there. And we'll clean up the reset for the new year. This year was a little slower, but it looks like next year's already starting to pick up. So for the next case year. Then as far as public accommodations, there's really been no change in the status of those cases from last time.
Okay. Thank you. 3.2 under administrative items is our survey update.
Yes, and I'm going to have to ask Marissa to help me. I don't think we have too much to update because we were going to keep it open through August.
I think last I checked, there was 12 responses. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah. So I knew we had a few, but we were just kind of waiting. I think we had decided last time when we met, the commission was kind of debating a little bit on the end date, but we had decided to keep it up through August for the school year to start, for new students to settle in and see if we can get that. And the commission, I think all of you took surveys to take and pass out. We haven't had a plethora of responses, but we haven't tabulated those because it'll stay open through August.
Okay.
Unless the commission decides between now and August that they want to keep it open longer. That was the plan we were last under, and so we haven't tabulated those so far. We've had a few responses, but anyone that needs more flyers or wants to share this, we published it on the website and we have it out there what we can. So, but if anyone needs more flyers, please let us know. The plan right now, unless other direction, is we'll keep it open through the end of August. So that means September meeting is when I'm planning that we would bring the summary here, unless you guys decide to keep it open longer.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 12 responses.
12. Okay. Any other discussion on that item? Right. Okay. And then moving on to Chapter 13 updates.
Yes, you'll notice we did a revision that we have already gone and it's been approved by the City Commission because they have to do it, and because it was not something we could really discuss, it was to bring us in alliance with the actual Fair Housing Act, which is what we have to be as substantially compliant with. In the course of some of our other dealings, we kind of found something that was out of compliance with them, and so we worked with HUD, and this just makes it in compliance. So under the Fair Housing Act, the exceptions to this are pretty narrow, what they are accepted to, and we had it broader because of the way ours was worded originally under Section 13104. We had the exceptions that are now moved to Section 13101 listed under 13101B. If you look, and that's going to be on page 3 of the bill. If you look at that, there's a Section B. There's several Bs, but that big Section B was under 13104 and made it apply to everything throughout the Act. And that exception should really have only applied to the items listed under A here, which means that Section 13101 or Section 13102 and Section 13, which is dealing with real estate transactions, and Section 13103, which is dealing with intimidation and coercion, were accepted out, and they're not intended to be under the Fair Housing Act. But the way we have this laid out and worded, it made it so those exceptions, and you won't see that in this wording. This wording is the fixed wording, and you repeal and replace. There's a red-lined version that was initially presented to the City Commission that shows all that red line if you want to pull up that City Commission meeting. But that's essentially what we're doing. We're making it mirror the Fair Housing Act, so those exceptions, so basically what's in our 13102 and 13103 are not accepted. Those exceptions do not apply to those, to anything brought under those claims, if you will. And that's exactly what's in the Fair Housing Act. But the way we had it worded, it was more broadly based, so those exceptions actually would have applied.
Right.
So that was just, it was a thing that we kind of realized in the process of working some cases and doing some things that came to our attention. The way the actual wording was, we weren't in compliance with them. So
So this handout and is the correct language
Yes,
now.
and if
Okay.
you go on our website now, there's an automated, they call it a codifier, so it'll show, it'll still show the original wording if you go down in it, but there's some preamble, I don't know when they'll get it in there, but it says that when it was adopted, what resolution was adopted, and then they automatically do that through the service the city has that updates it. It's called a codifier service, but
Okay.
so, but that was what it was. So it wasn't anything we really had a decision to make. We had to become compliant. So and the city commission is the one that has to approve it. So it was just decided to take straight to them, get it approved and done, and then share with you the update. Now, at some point, we probably want to look at maybe making some changes to the act that we can talk about that can be discretionary, and we've talked about that. I will submit at this time that it's probably not a good timing with HUD because they didn't want me, because I thought about, well, should we just make some other recommendations I would make now? And HUD was not real keen on that right now because of, I think, just they have a lot going on with some of the administrative stuff that we had to do any sort of changes, they really have to approve them, and it has to go through a process. So it would have to go through you. We'd make recommendations. It would go through them. Then it would be recommended to City Commission. I mean, there's just a lot to it. And right now, that piece of it in HUD, they were pretty reluctant. Like I couldn't make any, because I wanted to do a little bit more than just what this was since we were in there, and there was something I wanted to recommend, and it was kind of a non-starter with them. So that made the decision even more like, let's just get it done and corrected so we're compliant with them, and then we'll talk about it. But timing is not really great with them right now because it would be a lot of fruitless effort with us if we made all this effort and then they're not willing to consider right now. So I would recommend we'll probably wait on that. Maybe a goal for next year. We'll see how things play out at the end of this year and where they're at.
Yeah.
And how they do on the one case they've taken from us, if it lingers for 2 years or not. I hope not. That is not our hope, but
Okay. Any other questions or comments, discussion on that? Okay. Preliminary discussions items, none. And then under our unfinished or other business, don't see any. Public forum, we have no one here and no one on Zoom that has zoomed in.
No one's on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, I had an issue that I wanted to bring up as a matter of record. A couple of people reached out to me as part of the community about concerns with Pioneer President's Place, the old Roosevelt Lincoln School, residents being asked to leave en masse because of renovations that were being made to the property. I haven't heard anything about it at all. And apparently communication has not been that great between the property owners and the city. I'm a little concerned about that.
And if I might, we have received some calls this week, and it's come to our attention. Yes, they are being asked to relocate. It is a HUD property, so I would say if people have questions about the way, there is when you are a HUD property and HUD managed, when they do this type of renovations, it isn't uncommon for people to have to relocate temporarily, but there are rules under HUD. So if someone's having some issues, of course, if it's discrimination, they can come to us, but most likely a lot of the issues are the way this is being handled. HUD is the one that controls that. So the HUD division that's dealing with elderly housing, because that is an elderly housing property, and the HUD, how the HUD says you have to go about doing it. There are a lot of rules. I'm a little bit familiar, but not completely familiar with them. But yes, it has come to our attention this week. They're relocating people. They're not evicting. I've seen the letter. It is not an eviction letter. People keep saying they're evicting us. They're not evicting. They're asking you to relocate during this time. They are, from the letter I have seen, which one came to my attention, they're offering some compensation. They're not just, and they're offering to help people move. They're not just telling people, oh, get out tomorrow. It is a process, and that is what's hard about renovating some of these older properties. They can't always have people stay in there. But there are communication requirements from HUD when it's a HUD managed property or HUD subsidized like this elderly housing facility is. So communication, but it's always an issue.
And if people have some concerns, they can contact the Human Relations Commission office.
Or they can call community relations.
Okay.
Yeah, call our office, community relations, and we'll try and, we can't help a whole lot, but we can try and get you a HUD number.
Right.
And then I'm not going to guarantee it's the exact right HUD number because they have a lot, but I do know there is a process that you have to follow when you're a HUD managed property and you receive HUD funding like they do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see, anything else that we had? No?
That's all.
Okay, then I guess our next meeting will be August 12th, 5:30 Tuesday. So we would just need a motion for adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Have a great evening. Thank you.